Everyone, so today we are talking all about how you could be your dream body type and not even know it. And so what do I mean by this? I'm talking specifically about kitty body type or any kinds of these systems like essences. Like you could be your dream essence if you've heard of essences like ethereal or ingenue. Um, I really think that it may be that you are your dream essence or your dream body type. And if you're still confused about finding your body type or your essence, it could be the one that you want the most. And the reason for this is because we often know what looks good on us. And sometimes the disconnect between body type and essence can be the answer to why there's so much confusion, but that's a whole other topic. So the thing is that when you go to a dressing room or when you try on something or when you buy an item, or even if you see yourself in a certain light, in a certain lighting, or in a certain photo or a certain angle, you may pick up on this kind of beauty. You may pick up on what is unique about you, what is interesting about your look, what is so like iconic about your look almost. And then when it comes down to replicating that, it can be challenging, or it can just not work out. Or you try to do, let's say, like, you think that you look really amazing in this kind of like vintage Marilyn Monroe, like romantic sexy kind of look. Let's say that really resonates with you, but you know that you're not a romantic body type. Like, okay, I'm not a romantic body type for whatever reason. You could be a romantic body type. You could just be not the average presentation of one, but those lines still flatter you the most. Those are the lines that flatter you the most. Another thing that could be happening is that you have a romantic essence. And so oftentimes when people have a certain essence, they will think that that means that they also have that same body type. Like if you have a classic essence, you have a classic body type, for example, or if you have a romantic essence, you have a romantic body type. But in my experience, especially with all of my clients and everything, though, that could not be farther from the truth. You can have a romantic essence and be a flamboyant natural, like Angelina Jolie. And I would say she has a romantic essence in the way that I do essences. I don't know how other people are doing them or if they would agree with me that she has a romantic essence. I think she comes across very sexy, very sensual, and to me that's romantic essence. So Angelina Jolie has this kind of sensuality to her, and she may resonate with the romantic look, but then she may be confused because she would be like, I'm not a flamboyant, like, I don't really resonate with flamboyant natural in the way that it's described, like in the way that it's all kind of, there's a certain image that's associated with that body type, and it's kind of like effortless chic, but she may resonate more with romantic, and she's right to resonate with romantic. So I would say, everybody should trust their intuitions about what they resonate with, because there's often a sort of like a certain quiet guidance that you can get from the things that you feel most beautiful in. And there's a reason for why you feel most beautiful in those things. Another thing that could happen is you may really resonate with a certain body type, but you may not be just the most average sort of presentation of that body type. There may be something about you, like I know that some people who are romantics, like in body geometry, I call them the rounded bone structure type. So they don't have very many sharp angles and they have short lines. And a lot of people who are romantics, they don't realize that they're romantics because they don't have an hourglass shape. That's so common, but that's not really what makes a romantic as far as I'm concerned. And when they try on romantic lines, those are actually the best. And I bet that those people, when they first read about Kibbe and they first read about all these body types, they were like, oh yeah, I really look the best in romantic. A lot of the time, you know what you look best in. But the problems come up when you start to overanalyze and you start to doubt yourself and you start to doubt your intuition about what looks good on you, what doesn't look good on you. And sometimes, it's that validation that people need through a consultation with me telling them, look, no, you are a rounded bone structure type. You would be flattered by romantic lines. And a lot of the times people who are a rounded bone structure type, they'll say, well, I thought I was a soft natural, because I have width to my bones or whatever. And I find that that's not really always the best way to go about things. I find that width width can present in different ways, and people can get confused when they're analyzing their own body. And that brings me to the next thing. It's kind of interesting because when we do color analysis, we always do color draping. And we do color draping because we're not going to stare and stare at our skin, hoping that we're going to see its skin undertone, hoping we're going to see the colors that flatter our skin just simply by looking at it. But when we do body typing, for some reason, we do this over analysis of the body. What I recommend is actually trying on different clothing and seeing what category of clothing, aka which body type's lines flatter you. And that's basically like, like I was saying, that's basically like draping for body types. It's kind of like color draping, except body type draping, if you will. And or line recommendation draping. And that's really what I recommend. I don't recommend you ever overanalyze your body, and I recommend you go by what looks good on you rather than some sort of analysis of your body, if that makes sense, because that can get really confusing for a lot of people, and it's really difficult for us to see ourselves objectively. And further, it's sometimes the whole is much greater than the sum of its parts. So you may think, well, I have wide shoulders, so I just have to be a natural. You could be a gamete and have wide shoulders. You could be. So or you could be a lot of types. Like, you could be a lot of types and have wide shoulders, as far as I'm concerned. It's about the whole, and the whole is always greater, and that over analysis can get confusing. I think when people first come to Kibi body types or body typing or essences in general, it's often very much like they kind of have a sense of which body type they are, and then when they get into the analysis, they get more and more confused, or they have a sense of which body type they want to be. And why do you want to be that body type? I really think that you want to be a certain body type because you've seen for yourself how that beauty comes through in you, and that's why you want to be that body type. Like, let's say you really want to be a soft natural, then you just kind of have seen before how beautiful you look in those kinds of like relaxed, effortless, sensual, feminine kinds of lines. And you just want to be that so-called image ID so badly because you actually are that image ID, because you want to wear those things, and you've seen that beauty in yourself the way that it's described. And so you want to be that body type. So I think there is something there to that. And I think it's important to like honor that. There is sort of like a flip side to this. I think sometimes people can be afraid almost of their body type or of their own beauty. And it's because they don't want to stand out, or they may not want to look a certain way, so it could be kind of the opposite. But whatever kind of emotion you have about a certain body type, it's probably for a reason. It's probably you're either the complete opposite of that body type, which I find is actually pretty rare, or you are that body type. You are that bone structure type, you are that essence type, and you've seen it in yourself. That's why it resonates with you. That's why you want to look like that, because you've seen it in yourself. Especially with Essence, the way that I do Essence, it's more of that sort of like je ne sais quoi type of thing. It's not really about a facial analysis like a lot of people do. The way that I do Essence in my reports for my clients is I just kind of get a sense of how this person comes across. Like Angelina Jolie comes across as sensual and sexy, not necessarily because of her face, but because of her mannerisms and the way that she looks at the camera and things like that. And so I really believe that Essence is mostly about that, and not so much about facial features or bone structure. I think it's just that something else, the essence. And so a lot of the time when people resonate with an essence, like if you resonate with ethereal, or if you resonate with ingenue, and you don't look cute, or you don't look ethereal or whatever, or you resonate with romantic and you don't have those classic like Marilyn Monroe type curves or like lush facial features, I would still say you probably are that essence. If you resonate with an essence, I think you are that essence. I think that that's just as simple as that. So that's the thing, is that sometimes you can have multiple essences as well. Sometimes people can kind of pick up on different essences depending on how you're coming across in that moment. because I do believe that we all have access to all of the essences. It's more just what you are embodying most of the time. That tends to be the essence that you come across as. So sometimes people have a lot of difficulty embodying certain essences, like they have a lot of difficulty embodying romantic, like people complain that they can't pull off a sexy look. That's what having a hard time embodying romantic is. Or they have a hard time, embodying like a dramatic essence. It's like very intense, but that's more of an embodiment kind of situation than it is that you actually can't be that essence. So anyway, in terms of essences, it's a lot more flexible even than body types. And so I really think that if you are resonating with a certain essence, chances are you probably are that essence, and you should really lean into that essence. And what I mean by leaning into that essence is, leaning into, if you feel like you are, cute, or if you feel like you are a classic and you're really elegant, think about your own body type and what looks elegant and classic on you. And that's going to be different for each body type. If you are, I think I have a video. Yeah, I have an entire video. It's like a really long video on the elegant style for all of the elegant and classic style for all the body types. You could take a look at that. You can see how differently it presents in different body types. Then there's that kind of, and this is what I do in my reports, is I kind of basically explain how you can create a certain essence, a certain kind of look in your own lines, because one thing that looks elegant and classic on one person is going to look boring on someone else, so, or something that looks, romantic and sensual on one person is going to look, I don't know, just really off on someone else. So it's really important to know your line recommendations when you're thinking about honoring your essence, to kind of bridge the gap, and to be able to really create that kind of effect with your body type that you are creating with your aura, if that makes sense, with your essence. So I like to think of it that way, that you want to align your essence with your body type, and then that way you can really have like a very powerful presence and a very cohesive presence, a cohesive look. Nothing seems off and everything seems really natural when you combine everything together and you create a look within your lines that is consistent with your essence. So anyway, so I think that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what your essence is, and is it something that's really easy to achieve within your own body type, or is it something that's kind of confusing to achieve within your own body type and your lines and things like that? I'd be curious to know that. How many of you have essences that are pretty similar in terms of like presentation to your body type versus like completely opposite, and how do you deal with that, and how do you choose to style yourself? I'd be curious to know that. If you're interested in booking with me, then you can take a look at the link below. I do consultations, and you can take a look at how you can book with me. So that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time.